It was a cold Thursday evening. Sarah was washing dishes in her small kitchen when her phone buzzed on the counter. She wiped her hands and picked it up, a text, from a number she knew too well. Daniel. Her heart skipped. They hadn't spoken in months. Not since he walked out of their lives. With shaky fingers, she opened the message. "You take the kid." That was it. 4 words. No hello, no reason, no plan, just a message. That would change everything. Sarah stared at the screen, her mind spinning. What did he mean? Was he dropping Leo off? Was he leaving forever, and why now? The doorbell rang. Her hands trembled as she walked to the front door. She opened it, and there he was. Daniel stood there with Leo, their 7-year-old son, standing quietly beside him with a small backpack. Daniel didn't look her in. The eye! He didn't even step inside. "You take him," Daniel said. His voice was cold, tired. "I can't do this anymore." Before Sarah could speak, Daniel turned and walked away. Leo looked up at her with confused eyes. "Mom? Are we going home now?" Sarah hugged him tight. "Yes, baby," she whispered. "You're home now." That night, Leo fell asleep in Sarah's bed, holding her hand, but Sarah couldn't sleep. She sat in the dark, staring at the walls. Daniel had fought hard for custody when they separated. He said she wasn't stable. He said he could give Leo a better life. And now? He just gave up. It didn't make sense. Sarah opened her old email account. She hadn't checked it in months. There were several unread messages from Daniel. Angry, words, demands, insults. But nothing explained tonight. Then she saw it. A new email, sent just minutes after the text. She opened it. "I've had enough. You always said I wasn't good for him. Fine. Let's see how you handle him alone. Don't contact me again." No signature. No goodbye. Sarah read it 3 times. Something felt wrong. This wasn't just about anger. This was fear, panic, like he was running from something. But what? The next morning, Sarah walked Leo to school. He was quiet, holding her hand tighter than usual. At the school gate, he suddenly asked, "Am I in trouble?" Sarah stopped walking. "No, sweetie. Why would you say that?" "Because Dad said I was too loud, that I caused problems," Leo whispered. "He said you'd be mad." Sarah knelt down. "Listen to me," she said, looking into his eyes. "You are not a problem. You are my heart. You are the best thing in my life." Leo nodded slowly and gave her a small smile. She watched him walk into the school building. Her chest heavy. She had fought to keep him safe before. Now she had to do it again. At work, Sarah couldn't focus. She kept thinking about Daniel. Why give up now? Was it really just stress, or was there something else? That night, while folding Leo's clothes, she noticed something strange in his backpack. A sealed envelope. There was no name on it. She opened it. Inside was a legal-looking paper. Her name, Daniel's name, Leo's name. It was a court document. But not from their last case. It was new. She sat down and read it carefully. Her hands began to shake. The paper showed. Daniel had filed for sole custody just 3 weeks ago, but now he had dropped Leo off without a word. Why? Why would someone fight for full custody and then abandon the child weeks later? Something wasn't right. Sarah picked up her phone and called her old lawyer. "I think something big is going on," she said, "and I need help." Later that night, Sarah tucked Leo in and kissed his forehead. He held her hand tightly. "Mom, you won't leave me, right?" Her throat tightened. "Never. I promise." Outside the window, the wind blew gently through the trees. But inside Sarah's mind, a storm was building. She didn't know what Daniel was planning, but she was going to find out. For Leo, for the truth, and for herself. The morning sun shone through the thin curtains of Sarah's small apartment. But inside, the light could not warm the worry that filled her heart. Leo sat at the kitchen table, quietly eating his breakfast. But Sarah noticed he looked different. His usual smile was gone. As she poured milk into his cereal bowl, Leo suddenly spoke in a soft voice. "Mom, why did Dad leave me?" Sarah froze. She looked down at her hands, then back at Leo's big, innocent eyes. She didn't want to answer, but she knew she had to. She knelt beside him. "Leo, your dad. He's going through a hard time right now," she said gently. "But he loves you very much. Sometimes adults make mistakes. It's not your fault." Leo's lip trembled. "But he never talks to me. He doesn't call. He doesn't visit." "Am I bad?" No, Sarah said quickly. "You're not bad. You're a good boy. A very good boy." Leo looked down at his cereal, stirring it slowly. Sarah's heart broke. She wanted to protect him from the pain. But how? Days passed, and Leo's questions did not stop. At school, he became quiet and shy. His teachers noticed he was sadder than usual. One afternoon, Sarah found Leo sitting alone on the couch, holding his school backpack tightly. "Leo, what's wrong?" she asked softly. He looked up, tears in his eyes. "I don't understand why Dad doesn't want me," he said. "I miss him." Sarah hugged him close. "I miss him too, baby," she whispered. But deep inside, Sarah knew this was more than missing a father. Leo needed answers, and so did she. That evening, Sarah sat on the couch, going through Leo's school papers. Suddenly she noticed something odd, an envelope stuck in the side pocket of his backpack. It was sealed and had no name on it. Curious, she opened it carefully. Inside was a folded letter. The handwriting was messy, hurried. It read, "Leo, I'm sorry. Things are not safe right now. I wish I could tell you more. Please be strong. Love, Dad." Sarah's hands shook as she read. What did Daniel mean? What danger was he talking about? The next day, Sarah tried to focus at work, but her mind was full of worry. She called her best friend, Maya. "I don't know what's going on with Daniel," she said, voice trembling. "But I think Leo is caught in something dangerous." Maya was silent for a moment. "Sarah, you have to be careful. Sometimes people hide things to protect those they love, but other times, they run from problems." Sarah swallowed hard. "I'm scared for Leo," she said, "and I don't know what to do." That night, Sarah tucked Leo into bed. He hugged her tightly. "Mom, will Dad come back?" Sarah kissed his forehead. "I don't know, baby," she said honestly. "But no matter what, I will always be here for you." Leo smiled weakly and closed his eyes. But Sarah stayed awake, staring at the ceiling. The letter, the court papers, Daniel's sudden disappearance. It all felt like a puzzle with missing pieces. She had to find out the truth. The next morning, Sarah called the court clerk. She wanted to learn more about the custody case Daniel had filed. The clerk told her the next hearing was scheduled in 2 weeks. Sarah felt a chill. She had little time to prepare. More than that, she had to protect Leo from a secret she did not yet understand. At school that day, Leo surprised Sarah. "Mom, can I tell you a secret?" She smiled. "Of course," he whispered. "Sometimes I hear Dad talking on the phone. He sounds angry. He says things I don't understand, but it scares me." Sarah's heart pounded. She knew then that Daniel was in trouble. But how deep was this trouble? That night, Sarah sat by the window, watching the stars. She made a promise to herself, no matter what comes next, I will fight for Leo. I will find out the truth, and I will keep my son safe. Because a mother's love is stronger than fear, and sometimes it is the only light in the dark. The courthouse was cold and quiet that morning. Sarah held Leo's small hand tightly as they walked inside. Her heart was pounding. Today was the first hearing about Leo's custody. She saw Daniel in the waiting room. He looked different, tired, but determined. He spoke with a man in a sharp, ill suit, his lawyer. Sarah swallowed hard. She wondered what story Daniel would tell the judge. Would he say the truth, or would he try to make her look bad? The courtroom doors opened. Sarah and Leo took their seats. Daniel and his lawyer sat across from them. The judge, a serious woman with kind eyes, entered and called the hearing to order. Daniel's lawyer stood up first. "Your Honor," he began, "my client, Mr. Daniel, is seeking full custody of his son, Leo. He believes the mother is not able to provide a stable home." Sarah felt a cold wave wash over her. She glanced at Leo, who looked confused and scared. Daniel's lawyer showed pictures and papers. They told stories of Sarah being busy at work, tired and sometimes missing appointments. They said Sarah's life was too stressful for Leo. Sarah wanted to stand up and shout, "No, I love Leo more than anything!" But she stayed quiet. Then Daniel spoke. "I'm only trying to protect Leo," he said softly. "I want what is best for him." His voice was calm but firm. Sarah's heart broke. She knew Daniel was not telling the full truth. After Daniel's words, the judge asked Sarah's lawyer to speak. Her lawyer explained Sarah's hard work, how she managed 2 jobs and still took care of Leo. She showed proof of school meetings. Sarah attended and how Leo was doing well at school. Sarah watched Leo's face. He looked at his mother with hope. But then the judge noticed something strange. She looked carefully at the papers Daniel's lawyer gave her. There was a small note hidden in the corner of one document. The judge read it quietly. Her eyes narrowed. The courtroom grew silent. Sarah could feel the tension. What was in that note? The judge finally spoke. "Mr. Daniel, this note raises questions about your reasons for seeking custody. We will need to explore this further." Daniel's face went pale. Sarah felt a spark of hope. After the hearing, outside the courthouse, Sarah's lawyer pulled her aside. "There's something Daniel isn't telling us," the lawyer said quietly. "This case is more complicated than it looks." Sarah nodded. She knew she had to find out the truth, for Leo, for herself. The next morning, Sarah woke up feeling restless. The judge's words from the court echoed in her mind. Something was hidden, something Daniel didn't want anyone to see. Sarah sat at her small kitchen table, staring at the papers spread before her. She had called her lawyer early and asked for help to dig deeper. There was no time to waste. Her phone buzzed. It was Maya, her best friend. "I have something to tell you," Maya said in a low voice when Sarah answered. Sarah's heart raced. "What is it?" Maya hesitated. "I heard from a neighbor. Daniel has been meeting strange people late at night. People who don't look like friends." Sarah's eyes widened. "What do you mean? Dangerous people?" Maya didn't answer. She only said, "Be careful, Sarah. This isn't just about custody." Sarah felt a cold fear settle in her stomach. Daniel's sudden disappearance, the secret note in court, it all pointed to something more than just a fight over Leo. That afternoon, Sarah's lawyer called with new information. "Sarah," he said, "we found a bank record. Daniel transferred a large sum of money to an unknown account just before dropping Leo off." Sarah's hands trembled. What could that mean? "Possibly," the lawyer said carefully. "Daniel is trying to run away from something. Maybe debt or trouble with dangerous people." Sarah's mind raced. Could Leo be in danger because of Daniel's secrets? That evening, Sarah sat with Leo, trying to hide her fear. Leo looked up at her with big eyes. "Mom, is Dad in trouble?" Sarah smiled weakly. "I don't know, baby. But we're safe here. I promise." Leo nodded and hugged her tightly. Sarah's phone buzzed again. This time, it was an unknown number. She answered. A low voice whispered, "Stop digging. It's not safe for you or the boy." The line went dead. Sarah's heart pounded. She knew now. Daniel was hiding more than she thought. The next day, Sarah went to the park with Leo. She wanted to give him a moment of normal, but even as he laughed on the swing, Sarah's mind was full of questions. Why had Daniel fought for custody and then abandoned Leo? Who was behind the strange meetings and the money transfer? And most importantly, how would she keep Leo safe from the danger that was closing in? That night, Sarah sat by the window looking at the dark street. She promised herself she would uncover every secret. No matter what. For Leo. For their future. Because a mother's love is stronger than fear. And sometimes, the truth is the only way to protect the ones we love. The city was quiet that morning, but Sarah's mind was noisy. She couldn't stop thinking about the strange phone call. Someone was watching her, warning her, but who? She knew she needed help. Her lawyer suggested something risky, a private investigator. Sarah agreed. She needed to know the truth no matter what. 2 days later, the investigator called with news. "Sarah, I found someone who might help," he said. "A man named Mr. Khan saw Daniel talking to dangerous people." Sarah's heart pounded. "Can we meet him?" she asked. "Yes, but—" "Be careful. Mr. Khan is nervous. He's scared too." That evening, Sarah met Mr. Khan at a small cafe. He was an older man with tired eyes but a kind face. "I don't want trouble," he whispered. "But I saw Daniel with men who deal with bad things. Money, threats. Things you don't want your son near." Sarah listened carefully. "Why did Daniel come to you?" she asked. Mr. Khan looked around before answering. "Daniel was scared. He wanted to protect Leo, but he didn't know how." Sarah felt a mix of sadness and fear. Daniel wasn't just fighting for custody. He was running from danger. The next day in court, Sarah's lawyer brought up Mr. Khan's testimony. The judge listened closely. Daniel's face turned pale when the dangerous men were mentioned, but Daniel remained silent. The judge decided to postpone the custody decision. "We need more evidence," she said firmly. Sarah felt hope but knew the fight was far from over. That night, Leo asked Sarah again, "Mom, is Dad coming back for me?" Sarah hugged him tightly. "I don't know, baby, but I promise I will keep you safe." Outside, the city was full of secrets, but Sarah's love for Leo was louder than all the whispers. The next morning, Sarah woke up to a loud knock on the door. Her heart jumped. Who could it be so early? She opened the door slowly and saw a police officer standing there, his face serious but kind. "Good morning, ma'am. I'm Officer Malik," he said. "May I come in? We need to talk about your son, Leo." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. What did the police want with Leo? She nodded and let him in. Officer Malik sat down and explained. "We've been investigating Daniel. It seems he is connected to some dangerous people. We're worried for Leo's safety." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I've been scared too. I don't know what to do." Officer Malik smiled gently. "We want to help you protect Leo, but we need your cooperation." Sarah wiped her tears and nodded firmly. "Anything to keep my son safe." Officer Malik gave Sarah advice on how to stay safe and warned her to be careful of who she trusted. He also told her that the police would increase patrols near her home and school. For the first time in weeks, Sarah felt a small sense of relief, but she also knew the danger was not over. That evening, Leo sat beside Sarah, holding her hand tightly. "Mom, is the officer here to protect me?" Sarah smiled softly. "Yes, baby. We have friends who want to keep you safe." Leo looked at her. "With trust," Sarah whispered. "We will get through this together." The next day in court, Sarah's lawyer told the judge about the police involvement. The judge nodded seriously. "This case is more complicated than I thought," she said. "We must consider Leo's safety above all." Daniel's face showed worry, but he said nothing. Sarah felt stronger now. She was not alone. That night, Sarah sat by Leo's bed, watching him sleep peacefully. She whispered a promise to herself. No matter what happens, I will protect you. You will always be safe. Outside, the city was dark and quiet. But inside, their small home, hope was growing. The courtroom was filled with silence. Everyone waited for the judge to speak. Sarah held Leo's hand tightly. Her heart was beating fast. The judge looked at both Sarah and Daniel. She took a deep breath. "This case is not just about custody," she said slowly. "It is about safety and truth." She paused and looked directly at Daniel. "Mr. Daniel, your silence about the dangerous people and your actions has left this court with many questions." Daniel's face showed regret, but he said nothing. The judge then turned to Sarah. "Miss Sarah, your courage to protect your son and your honesty have been clear." Sarah felt tears in her eyes. The judge continued, "Until this court can be sure of Leo's safety, custody will remain with Miss Sarah." A quiet sigh of relief escaped from Sarah's lips. Leo smiled softly, looking up at his mother. After the court session, Sarah stepped outside with Leo. The sun was shining bright, and, for the first time in a long time, she felt hope. A police officer approached them. "Miss Sarah, we will continue to keep you and Leo safe," he said kindly. Sarah nodded, feeling grateful. That night, Sarah sat by Leo's bed and watched him sleep. She whispered, "No matter what happens, I will always protect you. You are my world." Leo smiled in his sleep, peaceful at last. Sarah knew the fight was not over, but she was ready. Because sometimes silence says more than words, and love is the strongest voice of all.